Dr. Rana Al-Falaki. Welcome to another episode of Be Free, Be Fun, and Be Fearless. So I am honored today to be welcoming my dear friend, former coach, soul family, Daniel Hanneman, who is also founder of Rock Your Sacred Purpose. So, well, the name says it all, really, doesn't it, about sacred purpose? Daniel, welcome.
Thank you, Rana. Yeah, glad to be here. So, yes, it's all about rocking that sacred purpose for sure. It's time to, it's time to rock something, right? It's like, if you're not rocked right now with the energies going on, then I don't know when it's ever going to happen for you. So, time to wake up.
Time to wake up. So, Daniel, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what your sacred purpose is all about, and then I want to go into your story after that, because you've got a fascinating, emotive story.
Yeah. So, as far as what rock your sacred purpose and all that, what that whole theme is about is. It's really about people waking up to what it is they're really here to serve and to be and to do. So, and there's so many right now, so many people that have been feeling this calling for a long time, in the sense of desire and intensity to serve and to expand and to share as light leaders, spiritual entrepreneurs, and healers is just really getting even more intense for people. And a lot of the people that come to me, they've already experienced all the, old ways of doing things, the 4D ways, the 3D ways, in other words, using willpower, just trying to survive. But inside they know there are these super powerful beings that can do extraordinary things or have a big message to share with the world or both. So they want to unlock that. They want to unlock their gifts, their power, and share that with the world. And what I do is to help them to do that at the same time, deeply spiritually awakening, at the same simultaneous time. And because that is a lot of letting go of a lot of the old structures and drivers that used to ensnarl us. In other words, like for me, I can't do things the way I used to. I can't with the successes I have had in the past. I can't do it in the way I used to do it. I can't just say, that's it, man, I'll put 1,000% fire energy into this, I'm going to make it happen. I can't do that. Otherwise I won't feel well. I'll just crash, or I'll just be a raving lunatic. Or honestly, what really happens right now is for me, that's probably more so what other people experience. For me, it's like it just doesn't last. Like the energy just won't be there. It'll just peak up a little bit and it'll be like, and it's just gone. So it just can't even work that way. But it's very disorienting for people, this awakening process, while they're going through it, and yet they feel I'm meant to do big things. So then they wonder if they should go just meditate and be monks or whatever. Or no, I better get it going. I better, so they get a little confused to what it is, or is it some in between road, or they don't understand, like deepening in your presence actually allows more of the bandwidth of the energy that wants to flow through us to happen. And so that there's more opportunities, there's more possibilities when we're allowing ourselves to simply be here now, which runs counter to some of my old ways and beliefs. So I was like, no, you gotta come on. I don't want to even hear your excuses. No. I'm like, but I started realizing that that creates such a sense of reactivating old traumas, even from past lives and whatnot, of you're not good enough. You gotta push it to make it happen. And so my whole thing is to help people not to do that, and to really trust that deeper presence within, and not keep listening to our mind that says there's not enough. We need to do more. We need to figure this thing out, and to increasingly let go, surrender, and let that beautiful, powerful presence that's within, that's got, Source has got it all handled if we just relax and let it be so. So my whole mantra for people with rocking their sacred purpose is, hey, let it be easy. Just tune in and let the energies flow. A lot of people think that's too passive, but honestly, there's the rock and roll and bold energies and courageous energies all within that. But we just have to trust to let it come in when it comes in. But there's times when we're not just going to feel at peace and everything's fine, then something bold or fierce will come through. It's just letting come through what wants to come through, not trying to manipulate or control our path, realizing there's something else that's wanting to just flow through us and giving ourselves to it.
So I've got a question for you. If we felt guided to do something, just an overwhelming urge to do something, and you really felt, I'm guided to do this has to happen. But obviously then you go on this journey, and in that there's some expectation, because you're thinking, I was guided to go down this path, something has to happen, this is something meant for me, and yet nothing obviously seems to be happening. What happens to the trust in those circumstances to just continue on that journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, so much of the way we're wired up is achievers, right? Those are, again, the audience we're talking to, I'm sure, given I'm being interviewed by you especially, like they're achiever-oriented sort of people, right? So we get it done, man. Yes, we got it done. And so we love this, we got it done thing. And if we're not getting it done, though, there's the flip side of, I didn't get it done. I just can't. Oh, wow. Am I a failure? Am I just horrid? Am I just the worst thing ever? And you could be like, you're just like such an achiever, but you just don't make it even one time, like even one time in one day or any one time. And you're just like, no, I'm a total failure. I'm not measuring up. Or you just get down on yourself, whatever. But usually it kind of starts going to the extremes, is what I see a lot of times for people, is this idea, I really blew it. And we don't realize that, again, this is all programming through all these lifetimes. So we have to understand that beyond like getting it done, like getting that achievement, whatever it is, we're going to go to the next rung on our business up-levelment, or even get the business started, or in our career, whatever it might be. But we have to realize, like, beyond all that, there is such a grace, right? There is such a grace that's just providing for everything. And when that can be enough, then we can be at peace with whatever unfolds. And again, it just so happens that the greater things will unfold anyway. So, but we have to trust with the lack of evidence, we have to trust that being connected and in the moment is enough, and that we'll know when it's time to move on something, and when it's time to back off. For example, like we're doing this interview, I know the way my energy is right now, I'm like, I need a little more rest. So I'm like, okay, right after this interview, I'm going to take even a more extended lunch than usual. I'm going to really rest, and then I have some things this afternoon and whatnot. But so I'm already I'm listening to that presence saying, you need a rest, you need more rest. So whatever that takes, then I have to pay attention to that. But when I'm very active, I can be, feeling like I'm getting so much done. I'm like, oh my God, how did I get all that done today? We have to be okay with whatever the season is. And a lot of us just aren't. We just feel like we should just be robots of mass productivity at every moment. And we have to let go of that. And a lot of that just comes from lack of trust that life's enough and will provide for everything. And even more so when we honor the signals that we're getting in our body, deep down inside, and just experimenting. One of my mentors says, give yourself a year or two to experiment. Just, the skeptic inside you say, hey, let's just experiment. Let's try this and see how it goes. So give yourself a year or two, or even a week or two, or whatever, like a day or two, but like do an experiment. Just see, like, is it enough? I don't know if it's enough. Let's see. Just give me this amount of time to experiment and see if this actually works for me. What I find for people is it does. It doesn't always show up as the instant results we want in everything all the time, but over the long haul, so to speak, for sure, and sometimes quickly, things start shifting. That's what I see, like, for example, we'll talk later about it, but like my meditate, make money meditation, people just listen to that and they're just like, I'm making more money. I don't know how it works. It's just working because they're relaxing. They're letting it come in through them. They're just letting the downloads and everything they need to start coming through them. And it just somehow works for, especially well for action takers. People are already geared that way. It works perfectly well. So it's time to slow down. Obviously, when you look at the world and the results we're getting, again, if you just look at the environment, right, the mess we're making on the planet, it's like, okay, that's all driven by it's not enough ever. And then, we're killing ourselves. We're killing ourselves physically, we're killing the planet in certain ways, or not doing well for it. It's time to stop, halt, and the greater good can unfold from there. So it is a cultivating of trust, Rana, and I can speak personally to that for my own journey, if you like.
Yeah. So just to summarize what you said is, because I want to draw the key points of that, is the impression I get is that sometimes when you do allow, you're open to that intuition, you'll get the downloads. But then sometimes, because you think, okay, it's like looking at a map, and it's like, okay, I'm supposed to go down that way. And you start going down that path. But what happens is there's a shift in your energy, and you go from being present and letting go, which allowed you to have the downloads in the first place, to suddenly being a little bit more focused on going down that path and the destination. So you actually start doing again rather than allowing as you're going down that path, which perhaps makes you a little bit less receptive, and then perhaps you then don't quite see the results that you were hoping to see.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to your question, because I felt like there's multiple parts for me of that question. Getting back to that part, if you were focused on one thing and like, this didn't really work out. Why did that happen? Well, we're guided. It's all an energy journey for us. So whatever we might be very guided to something that's not going to work out very well. I know it sounds bizarre. You're like, no, the intuition's always right. It knows it'll always work out. Some people say that's the way it is for them. I don't know. I don't tend to not believe those people, to be honest. But like you follow your intuition because that's what your soul is. It may not be what you absolutely need. That's why I always say, if I shift your energy, you may not be feeling your intuition the same way anymore. You may not need to go down that path anymore. So that's where coaching and energy work and all this stuff can help people to feel a different sense of their intuition, because you're ready for it. You're open to it. You're aligned. You maybe don't need those other journeys, lessons, some people call them. Maybe you don't need those things, but we're guided to certain things because it's just trying to bring us back into that center, that enlightened presence within, helping to bring us back home. So when things don't work out, it's just that it's part of our journey, maybe for many reasons. Maybe there's things we're cultivating during that time too that pay off in a bigger way later. We needed to be with those things so that later on we've had those experiences. Like I got into copier sales when I was younger, and right out of college. I was like, I had always been awkward and whatnot. And I got into copier sales. Now, I mean, copier sales isn't for me, but I knew it was important to learn how to get in front of people constantly. I was hundreds of cold calls a week. I had to learn how to get in front of people because I was so shy and to myself and not assertive. So I need to learn to show up, be in front of people consistently, and be assertive. And it started to cultivate that process for me by doing that. And I was guided to it. I mean, I wasn't really spiritual at that time, quote unquote spiritual, but I felt guided to doing that. And it really, that helped cultivate things for me later. Because, in business, you have to in this sort of business that I'm in, I have to constantly be making offers. So it helped show me, like, you've got to constantly get in front of people. And that was important. Becoming assertive, all these things. You're learning the things that you need to ultimately fulfill your awakening and your outer purpose at the same time by following your guidance. And like I said, you can always get improved guidance, but ultimately, you are going to get there, so to speak. So
Yeah.
whatever
But
there
it
is,
may
but
not, it
we'll
may
get
not
there
be
one way
so
or another.
obvious. It may not be so obvious at the time while you're sitting
Right.
with the expectation, but then it can come along later. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the reasons why I started with where I started before is because people are trying to always get to a point, like an outward level. Like I have to get here. But it's for me that can become very poisonous. Oh, every time I get geared up, okay, I'm gonna take my business to this level. I can only take so much of that dosage of thinking and focusing that way before it becomes toxic, what I call toxic for me. I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling good. I need to let go of all that. So the lighter and easier I just let, like, whimsically, like the idea of these things coming to pass, the better. The better. It's the opposite of what we had trained in. Like, no, it can be just the opposite. So, and it can work that way. I really think for for probably anybody. But I think we're so conditioned to think that it has to be that way that it's hard for people to let go sometimes.
Okay.
But the more you let go, the easier it'll be, and the more abundance and more opportunities present themselves.
So tell me, you've mentioned a few times your story, getting into sales, needing to be up in front of an audience, previously being shy. Tell us about Daniel the boy and how he's become Daniel Hanneman the man.
Oh, Danny boy! Yeah, right. Yes, it's all Irish song, I guess. Um, so yeah, I mean I start off in life just I didn't, I just was shy. Okay, I'll just put it that way. It's always just I felt awkward. I felt awkward even talking about it. I'm like, yeah, it's just a little awkward. And I just came in the world really feeling like, my recollection is just like I just felt a lot of love for people, and I was very observant, and I just watched how my family would act, family members would act. I just be sitting there like probably like a lot of kids, but I was like, you're all crazy. I don't know why you're acting the way you are. Just this is insane. Why you guys? And then you guys are talking bad about each other, and even if it was minor, but like, it's like, what's that about? Don't we? I think deep down inside I was like, don't you just love each other? I mean, why all this nonsense? So I had a real struggle because the things people wanted to talk about, um, I didn't care about. Like, so as a kid, as a teenager, things like that, I just always felt like I didn't always fit in. Not that there weren't certain things I could get into, for sure there were, but in large, like a lot of things, like I just wasn't into, and it really created a lot of troubles for me. So I think so much so that when I was 11 years old, I was working with my dad. I've told this story before, but I was working with my dad, and he's in lawn maintenance, and I was picking up the grass clippings and put them on a dump truck, big dump truck with, it's really stacked up high, and it had like the wooden enclosure in the back. And so I'm up there, and then it has the trailer in the back with heavy equipment. And also they start the workers pile into the truck. They're piling into the truck. I'm like, and it's because I was so quiet, I didn't say anything. I'm like, oh, they see me up here. I don't need to say a word.
Mm-hmm.
So they get in there, and then they start driving. I'm like, oh my God, they didn't see me. And so then I'm like, oh no, I got to get out of here. So I jump off from the top of the dump truck down to the hitch, and thinking I'm going to be able to, I always like, before I'm ready for something, I think I'm ready for it. That's my whole MO in my life. Like, in the long run, it works out, but like at the moment, it can be dangerous. So I'm like, well, I can do this, boom. I end up falling underneath the trailer and getting, and then I thought I was going to die. I mean, I had that connected presence moment where you just, like, everything slows down. We've heard about it from other people, and then I was like, oh, this is an interesting way to die. And as it turned out, miraculously, no. I mean, all that happened is my leg got, badly, like tissue damage or whatever, just temporary on that level. And I didn't even really have much of a break in my leg. It was like a minor fracture and just one leg. And and what exactly happened when I was under there, I don't know. I'm guessing it seemed as though the trailer was running over my leg, but then I'm like, how didn't it go over the other leg? It's whole thing's confusing. So, but the bottom line is, at that age, I really think I felt so awkward, like so many light leader type of people, light workers. I think I tried to take myself out, indirectly. And I was like, God, forget this. This is so silly, this world. And I ended up being here still. Here I am. There was obviously divine intervention to keep me around, because there's no way I could survive that. I mean, you just think about going underneath the trailer. Maybe you could survive, but I should have been way better, damage, better damage. That sounds funny. I should have been better, worse than I was. So anyway, so there's something that's taking care of us, as part of what I was learning with that. And I also learned that you need to speak up, but I didn't get the lesson right away. I was stubborn, so I continued to be quiet. That was called Mr. Invisible in high school. I didn't date at all. It's like my sister got pregnant, and she didn't know who the father was, all this stuff. Then he didn't want anything to do with her. I'm like, okay, I'm not even touching girls. I don't want to get close to being anything like that. So I'm like, I just don't want to even begin to try to even trust myself in that realm. I don't know what's going to happen, So I'm a little deviant, and I've got this little deviant energy in me. So I'd be doing other things, like going out doing vandalism and all this stuff back then, because I had all this energy and I didn't know what to do with. So I did all that. I was trying to figure myself out. I go to see the psychiatrist. I tell him, because I was attuned. I understood like things. I was like, I could move objects with my mind. I could blow things up. Oh, very interesting. Oh, yeah. And then before you know it, I'm bipolar, schizoid, or whatever. I don't know, whatever diagnosis they gave me, psychotic features, delusions of grandeur, what have you, right? And then they want to dole out the medication, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, we don't talk about that stuff. All right, okay, we keep that to ourselves. So we learn to stuff our powers, these natural capacities we have from a very young age. If we are aware of them, we just learn it's not right. You're not supposed to do that. They think you're crazy. So I did all that, but I just needed to find an outlet.
Daniel, wait, you took the meds or you didn't take the meds?
I did. I ended up on medications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know what else they gave me. I ended up mostly just on anxiety and depression medication.
Okay. So
I think I talked the story down to where they didn't believe I was all that anymore. So yeah.
So started off shy, not feeling like you really belonged on this earth, as it were. Which, yeah, a lot of us as light workers can relate to that. Like something just is off. Kept yourself to yourself. Had this experience where you should have died, really, but no such luck in your case.
That didn't work out.
At the age of 11, realized that you also needed to find your voice, but that lesson didn't come till later. Didn't date, carried on keeping yourself to yourself. Then ended up with anxiety and on a ton of pills and antidepressants with all these weird diagnoses. So now I've got you in your 20s, right?
Yeah. So now I'm going into school,
okay.
And I was into journaling. I was doing a lot. I was communicating to myself. I was journaling, lots of negative stuff mostly, but like also creative things. I got into creative writing, and I went into that when I got into college, and I pursued that for a while. And then I was like, okay, I don't know that I'm going to be some great selling author. I'm okay at it, but pretty good at it, but I don't think it's probably not right for me. So I went into psychology. I'm like, I'm going to figure myself out. I'm going to figure other people out. I'm going to see what really is going on with people, because people have always like, I don't get you,
Mm-hmm.
So I got into that, but then I got a bachelor's. So you can't do anything with a bachelor's degree in terms of like, oh wow, you're really sought after, after you get a bachelor's in psychology. So I went into sales. So I went into sales, like I said, outside sales. And I was I was one of the most hardworking, so to speak, persistent people. But I just, I didn't care about copiers, and I didn't care about copiers. And I just, this was all new to me. This is all training ground. Selling, I haven't, other than like arguments, I was always good at selling there. Like arguments with people, I was like, no, wait a minute. I was good there, but I wasn't, I didn't care about it. So, but I was so persistent that most people would either get fired or quit within about 3 months. And like almost everybody in the company was gone by the time I left, like even in 2, 3 years, like almost everybody's gone. But I'm like that Energizer bunny, when it comes to my persistence. I'm like, no, it's still going, he's still going. And I was really good in sales in this regard, Rena. I'm a master of this. I was able to convince my employers again and again that they should continue to be supportive of me, that I'm just the greatest thing ever, regardless of whatever the sales numbers. And people believed it, and they had faith in me until we just both decided, okay, basically I realized I decided, oh, I'm done with this job. They're like, yeah, it's like a mutual thing, but it just wasn't working out. So I was like, okay, this isn't my path. I never really believed it was, but like I knew it was important for my future even then. So that was that. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to go to grad school now and get my master's in clinical psychology. So I did that. The big story of that was like when I got to my clinicals with all that, they said, man, you're too passive. All you do is just listen to the clients. You're not getting, you need to actually talk more. And so it was this idea I'm not speaking up, which is true. There was truth to it, but they didn't understand the way I was tuning in entirely. But they did pick up on it when I do my assessments of my cases. They're like, wow, you're amazing at assessment. You're really good at assessment. Wow. And people would come to me in class with their case studies. Okay, take a look at this one. I'm like, why are you coming to me? You get the best grades in the class. Why would you come to me? I got good grades, but I just, nowhere near where they were as far as how I saw them. And they're just like, you just seem to know things. I don't know. So all my life, I always had this intuitive gift that I just really understood a new thing. So I did know I had that gift. But my professors, they put me in a wonderful place. Okay. But it was tough at the time. It was really tough at the time. They said, once I was about to go on externship, you have to get approved for that. They said, nope, all of us agree. All our, everybody on my, you get a board of advisors for your thesis, right? Mm-hmm. So they all said, we all agree, you're not ready. I'm like, wait a minute. They said, well, you're not really too far along on your thesis. I'm thinking, yeah, people in my class haven't even started their thesis yet. So how does that make sense? Okay. Oh, yeah, you're really awkward, with those clinicals. I'm like, okay, maybe. All right. And I said, oh, yeah, and you're splitting. You're doing what they call in psychology, you're splitting. So I was splitting my professors because I go to each of them and ask them the same questions. They said, this is splitting. You're asking, you're asking too many questions. You're pitting us against each other. I'm like, I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions. Is that okay? So anyway, so basically I was told the way you are is wrong. Basically that was the message I was getting. The way you are is wrong. Now, I also understood that, not so much back then, but that, I had more development, right, that needed to happen. That was true too. Both sides was true. So they kept me behind a year. They had me do you got to go to therapy, you got to do all these things. So I was invalidated, like you're not cracked. You actually, we don't even think you'd be a therapist. You're not, you just don't have the skills. You don't have the social ability to do that. Because you're so quiet, So went through all that. Then afterwards, I got hired. My first job I got hired in lasted 30 days. From day one, the lady was like, you were supposed to be here yesterday. I'm like, no, you're wrong. So it's like in this lifetime, in some ways, like I kept being, when I was in certain places in my life, it'd be like people would say, you're wrong, or you got it wrong. And then I'd be like, no, and then I proved it to her. I was there at the right time. But within a month, she built the case after she hired me that I was no good for the job. Okay. So after already being told you're no good in grad school, and then you lose your first job, I was crushed. I was in tears. I was beside myself. My dad, though, was probably the most supportive force by saying one thing. All he said was, it almost brings tears to my eyes again. He says, son, I'm not worried about you at all. You're going to be just fine. And it just, that was so important for me to hear back then, because I had no idea. I'd already gone through all this depression, barely date girls at all, even at that point. And all these things, I can't get a career going, nothing. And it's just crushing. But I somehow trusted what my dad said. I was like, okay, I know that I know I'm destined for great things. I don't know what they are for sure yet, but I always knew that. I knew there's something great wants to happen through me. So I was able to hold on to that. Eventually, though, right after that, I got into a job that worked for me. I was working with people with schizophrenia, bipolar, and everything. And now everybody loved me. I was understood. I was a great therapist, And in fact, so much so that in 4 months, I was hired by another company that worked with the same type of people at much higher pay. And I lived happily ever after for a few years there. And within that time too, I finally had my first serious relationship with someone. It was an amazing relationship. We just didn't have the same long-term goals, so that didn't work out. But then, I found my wife online. You wanted my story. Yeah, here we go.
Before you do that, another summary, just to like break it up a little bit to breathe. So, okay, so you go to grad school. And by the sounds of it, you're not really very well respected, not paid attention to. Your classmates can see something in you, but yet you're not stereotypically gifted. They hold you back, and then of course when you do eventually get out, fired with or and no good at the job. But then it sounds like when you got a job that was in alignment with you, which I think is the important lesson here,
exactly.
Something that aligned with you, aligned with your energy, aligned with what you were all about. You then proved very, very successful.
Yeah,
and now now we're getting to the romance. So you met your wife online?
Yeah. So I got into metaphysics within all this, and I got into science of mind, became a licensed practitioner of that. And so I started to get, man, I can manifest what I want. I'm empowered now, right? And so I was doing that when I was on. And I was so intuitive that, for me, I would just look at profiles and I just easily just know, like unlike so many people, almost nobody I know does this. I would just be like, to the level I do, I would just be like, nope. Oh, wow, I feel energy with this person. And I feel nope, it's not going to work out. Okay, next, so I just keep going through. And so, so even ones that would be good to date, like, oh, just go on a date, have some fun. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to work out. So why do I want to do that crap? Okay, next one. It's like, why do that? It was my mentality. So, but I guess so to discuss, because I couldn't find the one, the one that I was looking for. So, because I wasn't messing around, I was looking for the one. I don't want to just keep, I was never a dater. So I was never like, oh, just date. So anyway, I went in, and then one day I just said, okay, I'm just going to open up all my parameters. I was focusing on somebody that wasn't married already, somebody didn't have a kid. I said, okay, I'm going to throw all that out. I'm just going to look at everybody. And so I started looking at all these profiles. I'm like, and that's it. If I don't find them today, I'm walking away for this indefinitely. And I'm like looking. And then that was that. Then because I created that, because I was all in, I was like, all or nothing. That way we're going to get this done, or I'm walking away and I'm detached from it. That's it. That's magic. And I opened up my parameters. And then boom, I found her, And for me, because of my intuition, we all have intuition, but I just have this deep recognition of things. And I'm just like, oh, that's the one. And when I saw it down, I was like, oh, that's the one. So I sent her a message. I'm like, hey, whatever I said at the time, I don't know. And I'm like, for me, I'm like, oh, she'll get it right away. She's intuitive. She should get this right away. No, she didn't get back to me right away. So a few days later, after not hearing from her, I sent her a message. I'm like, hey, hey, you're kind of blowing it. Like, what's wrong with you over there? I don't think I wrote it quite like that, but it was like, that's what I was transmitting energetically. I'm like, come on, what's wrong with you over there? Don't you see this? And so, so she did get back to me the second time, and we got together. And the funny thing is, we had an amazing, a nice, wonderful first date. And at the same time, though, at the end, I noticed her saying some things that I was like, man, she's assertive. She's kind of bossy. I don't know if I like that part. And then it was so perfect, because that's what I was lacking. I was lacking assertiveness. So, I found, I let myself get past that. And then we got dating and everything, and the rest was history. I married. We have
but,
you know, two of our own kids together, etc. But yeah, it was
how can
important
you
for me to
have,
raise her assertiveness. Yeah.
how can you be dating her knowing in your mind or energetically this is the woman who I'm going to be with? Yeah, but yet she doesn't realize it yet. How are you
No.
how are you able to like practice the patience at that point? Because you know what the destination is going to be and they don't.
Well, I stayed open, even though I had this instant recognition, and I was, you know, I want to say I knew for 100%, but at the same time, it was like, okay, well, let's make sure, you know, like I was in that mode as well. So I didn't try to, you know, push things to marriage or anything right away. For right or wrong, I says, I think you should wait like a year, you know, let's go through all the seasons of the year and everything, all the cycles, right? And let's see where we are in a year. And then after a year, I took myself out to dinner. I said, okay, now I could imagine being with her, you know, going forward, or I could imagine, you know, maybe breaking it off even and, you know, going another path. Because I was kind of like, you know, I just want to find the one, you know, that was my focus. So I was like, okay, which way is it going to go? And it just felt right to marry her. It felt like, no, this is the right, no, she's the one. This is the right path. So that's how it worked out. But yeah, I mean, I think after a while she started to get it, you know, to be honest. She was so funny when I proposed to her. She's like somebody that can never be surprised, right? She's just so, because she's very psychic, very attuned herself. So she can never be surprised. But one of the few times I've surprised her was when I proposed to her. She had no idea. That was pretty funny and pretty amazing. But yeah, she said yes. She said yes. She did say at first, she says, you know, I'll have to think about it. And like 5 minutes later, she said yes. So that was pretty hilarious.
Oh. So listen,
the rest is
I don't want us to run out of time because I want us to get onto your energy scanning. So
yeah, I
so
know.
personally, so I understand where you came from, and you're learning these lessons throughout your whole life,
Yes.
and understanding who you are and your alignment, and then finding the right person, trusting your intuition, balancing that intuition with a degree of reality as well, is what I'm hearing you say. But then obviously you progressed your career from a clinical psychologist to an incredibly successful multi-million-dollar business, right?
Well, not. I wish multi-million. Yeah, multi-million over the years. I went not per year. Right? Yeah, but what I did was, is I was, I eventually I got online. You know, after doing private practice, I'll fast forward it now. You know, and then I decided. By the way, it is interesting for people to know. I quit my regular daytime job while I had a part-time, you know, business going. I did it when my first daughter was born. So, and I didn't have enough money in my part-time business to cover the bills. And it wasn't like, you know, I had money from Deb to pay the bills. So it's like, I made the leap then. And for a good 2-3 years, at least, I forget the exact, I'd have to look at my records. I couldn't make it. And that went through the roof, you know, hugely, and I couldn't pay my bills. We had to let go of our house. Everything happened, and it was again for one reason, mostly. I wasn't being assertive enough still. So I wasn't trusting my power, my influence, my persuasion enough. And so I would just try to give it away like so many healers do, like, oh, I'm going to give you all this value in a free session, then maybe you want to hire me. But I give so much value that people will be like, oh, no, I'm pretty good. I wouldn't even say they're good. I'm saying, no, none of this nonsense of hiring me. You don't need to do that. You're good. You know, I'm so in the knowing of your wellness and who you are. You're blessed infinitely, and so it is. I was afraid just to be assertive, to support people and to help them more is what it was. So I broke through that. But in the process of getting there, I developed this energy scan technique, this ability to tune into people even more fully and deeply than I already did naturally. And so utilizing that was a part of my breakthrough as well, in terms of owning my gifts and my power. Then it was the persuasion. I'm trying to fast forward this. And then I was around 6 figures ish, you know, with my money. And then I was like, with the business, and I was like, I can help other people do this. Everybody's like, how can you do this? First of all, how do you do your energy scanning? And you're actually making money doing this? Like, that's a little unusual, right? So I'm like, yeah, no, and you can do it too. And so I just set on course, knowing that other people could do, especially the energy scanning. So I did that. I got the Academy for Invincible Healers going, and I created a multi-six-figure, a business that I did do. So, and I had that for years, and it was an easy business. It was much like I'm talking about. It was easy, just with no big stress, 30-hour work weeks or whatever it was, thereabouts, with incredible self-care. And so after struggling and working probably a lot more, in the beginning, I will say that, I got it to where it was really easy, and helped, I was certified, well, I don't know how many, but I trained hundreds and certified well over 100 people, I'm sure of that, and over the years. So, but yeah, all that happened, and then a lot of people just don't believe some of the stuff I tell them. I was really shy in the past and everything. They see me babble on these calls and get on stage and whatnot. Not everybody can see it. They're like, "What? You're shy, introverted, invisible? I can't see that."
I have exactly the same. They don't see it. They would never believe it. You're shy.
Right.
What are you talking about? Like, it's true. It's true.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So that kind of brings us sort of to the present moment, because I let go of that business because I was told to. My guidance told me to, not because it was logical, not because it's the smart move in my business, but I let go of that business because I was told to, basically. So from my guidance, and I followed that. So I followed that. That did create a dip in business. But what has emerged is your sacred purpose, rock your sacred purpose theme. And I wanted to start helping people. People did make more money, and some people made a lot more money working with me, but 6 figures and all that stuff. But what I found is that so many people didn't. Many people didn't. They just get some clients, and stuff like. So I wanted to help people that wanted to make a bigger impact in the world, and that had always been something I wanted to do. And work with also people that are already making big impact, but maybe need more support to take it to their next level of enlightenment and et cetera, and impact too, and money and everything. So that's what created Rock Your Sacred Purpose, and that's the work I do today. So that brings us kind of to the present moment with what I do. Yeah, and I do channeling and all this sort of stuff. I'm a spiritual teacher first and foremost, really. I'm a spiritual guide. And it happens to do intuitive business coaching and help people to get that going simultaneously.
Yeah. So and all those experiences in your life have led you to this purpose. And I'm hearing you say several times, taking a complete leap of faith because you were guided to. And in fact, you answered my question of earlier, because you quit your day job. And you got into so much debt, but you just kept going and going and going, still down that path, because that was the way you were guided to. And in the end, It worked out. It doesn't necessarily work out straight away. Sometimes we recognize the lessons in retrospect. And then, of course, you did it again with sort of, because you were guided to let go of another really successful business. But again, with that guidance, what I'm hearing you say is it's also you had to create space for the new to come in.
Right. Exactly. I had to create space. Otherwise, I would have just kept doing what I was doing. Yeah.
And that wasn't your purpose. And I think that's where sometimes people get confused, because then they think this is their passion and this is their purpose. And then they get confused when they're almost being guided to diversify, and they feel uncomfortable with it, because they're like, no, I'm supposed to be here, and why are you trying to take me down here? And so I think an important point to make at this stage is that our purpose can evolve.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, true. We're kind of figuring some stuff out along the way. Someone can't just come to you and say, here's your purpose, and then the next day you're going to be living and embodying that. And even if you did, because some people come to me and they'll say, listen, I already know my purpose. And I'm like, yeah, you totally don't know your purpose. Whenever everybody tells me that, I'm always like, I don't tell them that, but I'm thinking, yeah, you totally don't know your purpose. The person that tells me they know, it's just like people that say they're enlightened. I'm already enlightened, damn it. Like, yeah, you're not enlightened. Yeah, I already know my purpose. No, you don't know your purpose. So what you have to kind of, your purpose is evolving. I mean, there's certain things that are those soul intentions we have throughout all our lifetimes. So we're here to experience certain things and to fulfill certain things, right? So we have a certain basic foundational soul intention. But ultimately, we are all gather all these experiences, and then we come back home. We finally come to a full awakening, more or less, and then we ascend, and that's how the path unfolds. And I can say that with a sense of knowing because of all the energy scans I do. I'll scan all their energy. I'll see what's been happening, and so I've been studying this for thousands of energy scans and with lots of clients, and that's what happens. We're just doing all this stuff until we're ready to be done with this little ride, and we come back. Okay, I'm ready to go back home. I'm ready. I had a nice trip. Okay,
Yeah.
It's time to go back home.
How
go visit home every once in a while, right?
Exactly.
Every life we go back when we visit temporary for a little while, and then we come back.
It's like when I interviewed Melinda Kapoor a few weeks ago, and yeah, we were talking about we're only here in our Earth suit, and then you decide to get rid of the Earth suit, and off you go. So, how would you like to demonstrate an energy scan on me, so that
Sure,
our viewers and listeners
some
can get an idea of what it is?
/channeling. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, do some channeling by all means.
Yes. All right. So, I'm just going to do some tuning in right now. So, where I'm being shown is a necklace around your neck. So, what I'm sensing with that, and I'm getting this Native American energy sort of feeling coming in. So, the message coming in is, that you can be. I'm hearing like you could be woo-woo, you can be deeply spiritual, and you can experience incredible wealth at the same time. So they're wanting you to know that. Of course, they want the audience to know that, because that's one of the biggest things I constantly am addressing. Listen, there is no conflict between being fully enlightened and spiritual and wealth and money. There's not a conflict. There's only we think it is. So anyways, they're wanting to remind you of that and help you to deepen in that. Because what happens, I don't want to just say for you, but for the audience is, we'll say like, well, I love all this wealth, but man, it's going to take away from my sense of just being, forget it. But how do you make a lot of money if you're just being? That's not going to work. Oh, dang, I can't have it all, and it's just so not true. It's so not true. So, but they were showing me, they're showing me you. I know you have rituals, but like there's some kind of, I'm getting something with rose petals, maybe like pink rose petals or a pink flower, maybe. I see like them going on the water, like you're setting them on the water. So I feel what they're trying to tell me is there's various rituals that you want to keep incorporating into your life, beautiful rituals, and that they're really important to your soul and your being to incorporate these beautiful, whatever it is. You're like putting these petals on the water, and you're just in the beauty of it, of the wonderment and the beauty and the letting go, So the beauty and letting go seems to be the theme in that. So they're showing me your writing. So they definitely want you writing more books. I get like 3 or 4 more immediately is the idea that comes through. So they're like, come on, you got plenty, you got lots there, come on. So I get that energy around it. What else is coming through right now? Yeah, again, I mean, you just have that Shiva energy. Partly what they're saying too is not getting this, or again, many of us here, like this stop being so nice kind of feeling I get. Like, stop being so damn nice, Shiva, get down to the bottom line more, come on, no BS. And so I'm getting a Shiva energy coming in really strong. Because here's the thing, I think for you, Rena, I feel like you could sort of, for enlightenment for people, you could kind of cut their heads off, and they won't love you less, they'll love you more. So you just literally cut their head off, so to speak, literally and figuratively, cut their head off, and they'll be like, "Oh, Rena, thank you so much." So remember that. I mean, that's something I had to remember. Like what I've had to continue to remember. But I get that really strongly for you. You can't do the strongest and most powerful work without embodying more of this energy. So this is really key too. We could go on and on. I don't know how much time we want to spend.
But for me, that's quite metaphorical, because if we cut people's heads off, it's like we get out here and get into here. Stop thinking so much and start, which of course is what I do with clients and in my programs. I'm all like you, all about being. It's a case of let's get more by doing less. Let's stop being the wantaholics. Let's stop doing. So I've done it into the point of fatigue, just like you. And let's start being. So part of it is bye-bye. Yeah, absolutely. So it's important to say as well with your channeling, because part of what you were doing just now was channeling, but when you do an energy scan, and you'll do it over the phone with someone, you don't have to actually see them. You're just talking to them on the phone. You can tune into them, and you start identifying blockages in the chakras and in the energy centers, and start to build on ideas of what could really help them, areas that they could do with releasing, and certain aspects like that. And in other words, what might be getting in their way, and therefore how to progress with whatever their goals are. So then when you come to coach them, obviously part of it is, okay, let's identify your purpose as, be it a light worker, spiritual being, someone who's enlightened or wants to bring consciousness into their environment. Let's get your message stronger, and then let's grow your business and your voice around that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's all part of it, and really owning their value. I mean, that's something that a lot of people need a lot of help with sometimes too. Like they're way undercharging for what they do, so they don't have something that they can easily sell. Then my focus is, and if they're valuing it enough, then my thing is to get that going as well. So whatever it is they're energetically needing for success is what we're going to focus on. But for many people recently I've been working on, they need help. They're meant to impact all these people's lives, but they're not even charging enough for their one-to-one yet. Like they're at that stage. But they're already getting incredible, client results typically. They already know they're brilliant at what they do. They just need help in owning that value and allowing themselves to receive financially for that. So that's one of the big things I help them with, is I get the energy turned on inside of themselves so that they are aligned with the offer that they're making. And it still takes a little bit of time to get it going. But once the energy is turned on, it's going to happen, So it's just we turn on the energy, and I mean, my clients are just happier than ever. Like they're just like, oh my God, they're just through the roof. I've never seen my clients I've had some clients like thank me for years and years and years and years, saying they're sending me, energy balls every day, just for what I've done for them. And, today I feel like even more so, my clients are even more grateful maybe than ever before with what's happening for their energy right now. Because what's really happening through the whole process, it might be interesting to some of your audience, is really deepening your awakening is really what it's doing. So it's going to give you all the stuff, your human self, wow, I'm going to get more money, and I'm excited, and I work through and it's going to wake you up at the same time. So it's doing everything all at once is what's so cool about it. And my school is of money for myself. Like I need to study. I have to be with money. I have thought many times in my mind, like, well, maybe I shouldn't be about money. I'm just going to do only the spiritual awakening and not focus on money. But for me, that doesn't work. I'm supposed to, part of my game is money. And so that's part of my purpose, is to focus in on people, my energy with money, other people's energy with money. Some of it's about the quantities. A lot of it's about how you feel about what you're doing and how much money you're receiving as well. Because otherwise it's never enough, right? So, and then we got all that
Yeah.
sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah, so I work with all those things.
to really get the flow of money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
going. So you actually offer on your website, yoursacredpurpose.com, there is a free download of Meditate with Money.
Meditate with money, yes.
About 15, 17-minute meditation.
Oh, it's 18 minutes, yes.
There we go. Yeah, that people can do daily, and like you said, you've got many clients who absolutely love it, right?
Whereby they say it's the greatest thing ever. They're like some of them tell me it's the best meditation they've taken in. I listen to it. I'm like, I love it, and I listen to it too. But I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, like I hear certain things on the recording, I'm like, oh my God, that doesn't sound so good. But they're like, no, this is the greatest thing ever, like. So and what I'm hearing is just that people tell me when I'm doing that kind of work, especially, they say that what I'm doing comes with encoding, right? So because I'm tuned in, they're getting a transmission through the whole thing, and it goes deeper. They're like, this is deeper than just meditate and make money. And I'm like, yeah, it is, because it's always deeper for me. I'm always bringing that in. So, but it's working. People literally, like the one person that keeps coming to me, she says she's been listening to it for 6 months, and she says she just keeps making more money, And she says, I don't know how it's working, but it does work. So
they can download that for free from yoursacredpurpose.com. And at the moment, they can also book a free energy scan consultation with you, which, like we said, is done virtually. So for anybody who wants to experience that, a combination of your scanning, of course, your channeling, you do channeled prayer as well. You send energetic healing. You do so much with your clients to really get them into a good space.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Exactly. And but it starts with the energy scan consultation, and it's particularly for people who are feeling they're meant to be up to big things, but you can't seem to quite take it to whatever your next level is, and simultaneously that you're on an awakened path, and you want to wake up fully at the same time. That self-care and taking great care of yourself is all part of it. You can't do the old way, just hustle only. You need to, let go of that. Maybe you're getting a lot of turtle signs like I got to get me to slow down. Like I've heard that from other people that come to me. Hey, I'm seeing turtle signs all over. Yep, you're meant to slow down. And you won't understand that, some people don't understand the power of slowing down until you experience it, like many things, right? So you don't understand it until you get into it. But it starts with the energy scan and me talking to you about where you are, where you want to go, and energetically what's going on with you that is, wanting to happen, and what's holding it up. What are the things that are holding it up? And the truth is, all that energy, all it needs to do is be shifted into the vibrancy it really is, to get it turned on. And that's where that unstoppable spirit comes into you, that I love turning on inside of people.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I can hear how passionate you are about everything that you do, and that's the thing to remember is, okay, you talk about the money, but you still do it very much from your heart and your desire and your passion and your purpose to truly help people and send more light workers out into this world.
Yeah, it's so important right now. I mean, things do seem crazier than ever, right? I mean, it just seems, who knows, but that's the story, right? On the street, COVID, this,
oh yeah, let's not even go there.
Right, we have one conversation without all that kind of stuff. But we're being called into big awakening. That is true. It's a very intense time. And I have been told from my guidance that everybody, all of you that know you're bearers of the light, you're here to help raise the consciousness on the planet. It's time now. And the more we can show up, the more we can alleviate any unnecessary suffering during the waking up process.
Very much.
And even to the point of saving people's lives in some cases, for
which
sure.
is why there are so many people who are there, so not everyone's waking up at this time, but those that are should see that as their calling, that they are those light workers, and that they are they are consciousness, and that is their role to play, and to remember that the wake up process is not always easy. It is quite often does emerge from pain. It's like, imagine a snake shedding a skin. I don't imagine that's going to be that painless. And so sometimes the awakening process is painful, but there is a reason for it. Okay, we are out of time. That's quite a good note to end it on, I think. I think so.
Yes.
Okay, so please do go on to Daniel's website, rockyoursacredpurpose.com, and you've got tons of information, downloads, and of course stuff about his podcast there as well. He is so much fun. So you're just the most amazing guest to be on. Be free, be fun, be fearless. I think we covered all three of those today. I think
absolutely.
So. Okay.
All that and more.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Yeah, the only thing we didn't do is we didn't dance. You and I will usually do a bit of a dance. Yeah, let's do a dance. Why not? No, now we're showing our age doing this. I think we need to look trendier. Anyway, what the hell? Okay, so
next time, right? So,
next time. So on that lovely note, thanks again, Daniel. I am Rana Al-Falaki. Please feel free to subscribe so that we can notify you automatically when the next podcast or video is up. And please do share it with anybody who you know would benefit. I'm Dr. Rana Al-Falaki. 3 final words for you. Be free, be fun, be fearless. Bye-bye. Feel on top of the world with Light Changes Coaching. Do you feel like burying your head in the sand, hoping it will all be fine when you come out? Do you know what you want, but no idea how to get it? Are you stuck on the treadmill, repeating the same old patterns, wishing the answers would just be there for you? How great would it feel to have those answers right there in the palm of your hand? Or did you know that there is a way to get immediate answers, fast resolution of inner problems, and quick access to a higher state of awareness? After 20 years of helping people, I have perfected a special technique that allows you to tap into your intuition. Connect with your intuition in just 5 minutes a day using this special technique, Dr. Rana's gift technique, the guided intuition and fulfillment training, and you can have those light bulb moments every day. So get what you want, a job that gets you excited when you get up in the morning, a relationship where you can look across the table and think how much you love that person, a body that you're proud to have and look in the mirror and absolutely love, a bank balance that you're not afraid to look at. My gift to you is simple, quick technique to access your intuition and give you the instant answers you need to get unstuck without having to do lengthy meditations. So head on over right now to lightchangescoaching.com and download yours.